Okay, now that you've seen what's happening inside the piano when the sustain pedal is pressed, we're ready to start the training on how to play it here. And just like many things in piano, proper pedal use starts with good posture at the piano, just like in the Stage 1 tool, which is attached to this video.
So just like our posture seat, make sure you're sitting so that when you make a fist, it perfectly touches the end of this fall board without you having to lean forward to reach and without you being so close that you have to lean back. So get in that perfect position and then make sure that your elbows are the same height as the keys. Your feet are flat on the floor, and this is great because it allows you to be able to move your right foot forward and be able to grab your sustain pedal while your left foot is keeping you balanced. If I was to slouch and go like this and then try and use my pedal, it's totally uncontrolled. I'm having to use a lot more muscles to press down the pedal than if I just had good posture in the first place and then moved it forward. So good foot position is having your heel stuck to the ground. So it's going to just be like a hinge. It's just going to be your gentle pivot point. You're putting the ball of your foot on the pedal. You're not just putting your toe, and you're not sliding it clear back so that your foot's wedged against the wood. It's just nicely put your ball of your foot over that pedal. And then, keeping your foot flat, you're just going to do a gentle press and then a gentle release. I've seen people play the pedal and they're so focused on their music that they end up playing with their whole foot like this. They lift their foot every time, but see how it throws me off balance? It's using so many extra muscles than I need to use. This is the most natural movement. The least effort possible is just a quick blip of your foot. Press, blip. So I definitely want you to pause the video and try a few of those with good posture. How did that go? I hope it was feeling very controlled and smooth for you. The other thing is you don't want to do it with such force that it hits the wood at the top. If I release it too fast, it makes that wooden kind of knocking sound in my piano. So you never have to lift your foot clear off it either like that and do these like abrupt, forceful lifts. It's very controlled, very smooth. You're not going to hear extra noises from it hitting the top. So this is what we call a blip in Piano with Ease, when the pedal is pressed, but then you do a quick lift and repress. So there is going to be a sweet spot that you find because if you don't press up all the way and you only do a tiny little lift, then the damper heads did not go back onto the string, so it's still going to mix all those sounds together. You have to lift fully so that the damper heads have time to press back on the string and silence what you did, and then immediately release them again to be able to play the next set of sounds. And don't worry, we're going to get into some examples of this. So for now, when you're practicing your blips, practice a full blip, not so high that it makes that clunky sound, but not only halfway where it doesn't fully put the damper heads back on the strings.
Okay, now that your foot has had some reps, we're moving to the next step. There is a tool attached called the sustain pedal, and it shows 4 example chords: C, G, D minor, and A right here.
We already saw the mistake that could happen when someone just holds the sustain pedal down the whole time they're playing and it smushes everything together. So then someone might reason, okay, so then if I don't want to smush the sounds, then maybe I should lift my foot in between each chord. So let's try it. But then that didn't sound good either. Did you hear how it had this nice ringing out sound and all of a sudden, nothing? So we call that a vacuum of sound, which is like a beautiful ringing out sound, and then all of a sudden it's just like zip, gone. So we don't want that either. So then someone might think, okay, well, if I'm not supposed to lift it while I'm lifting my hand, maybe I should lift it after I play the next chord. And then it would sound like this. And I don't know if you could hear that very well on the iPad, but it's like you still heard these 2 chords together for a moment. And then you heard a blip, and then you only heard the 1 chord after I blipped my foot. So that was actually overlapping them too much.
So what you'll need to do to avoid those mistakes is learn to find your sweet spot, the exact moment to lift your foot so that you get that continuous pedal sound where the only sounds you hear sustained are the nice matching or congruent sounds of the same chord, not too early and not too late. In fact, when done well, the listener can't even tell you lifted your foot because it sounded seamless. This is our goal. This is called playing continuous pedal. Don't let the name fool you. This doesn't mean we are holding down the pedal continuously the whole time without releasing it. It means the song sounds like it has pedal the whole time, but in a pleasing way that enhances the song. We're about to learn how to do this, but first know this is going to take some practice to get coordinated, so don't get discouraged because it takes many reps for almost everyone I have ever taught this skill to until it becomes automatic and starts flowing naturally, so be patient. Just keep in mind that if you learn to drive, you learn to incorporate feet work there with everything else you had to do, so you can learn it here too. So looking back at our tool, we're about to learn how to do continuous pedal, but by baby steps and only by using these first two chords at first, going from C chord to our G chord.
Baby step 1 is pressing your C chord and just pressing down your pedal at the same time. Get to where you can press both at once. Baby step 2 is do what you just did, and this time lift your left hand off the chord while your foot pedal is still holding down the pedal. Get to where you can lift that hand off, but your right foot is still down, holding out the sustain pedal so the sound is still ringing out. That's baby step 2. Now, baby step 3 is we're going to do what we just did, but we're going to just set our hand on the G chord position. So both down at the same time, lift. Now you move your right hand and you set it on G chord position, but don't play yet. So the next baby step is going to feel counterintuitive because it's going to mush the chords together for a moment, which is what we said not to do, but it's part of the process. So now you're going to do all of that. Play your C chord with the sustain pedal, lift. Now you're going to come down and play your G chord. So the sustain pedal has been down the whole time. So once you can do that, then comes the work, because this will be the place where you find your sweet spot. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a blip with your foot, blip, right after you press your G chord, but not like too late like we showed in the previous example. So it'll be like this. Right when I'm pressing, press blip, press blip. It was so fast. So really listen to the sound the chords make and see if you can make sure there's no vacuum of sound and there's no overlap. Take all the time you need to get reset. So if we did it too early, we would have heard that vacuum like this. You heard the sound stop. If we did it too late, it would sound like this. You kind of heard that wow sound when it was both chords at the same time, and then all of a sudden it took away the C chord when I blipped too late.
This is the point where it might be hard to hear those subtle differences at first, but if you lift too early, you'll hear the sound stop. If you lift too late, you'll hear the sounds overlap and it might make like a wah sound. So keep trying it, listening for those nuances. They'll become more clear the longer you do it. And this is why our tool shows the little green blip triangle. See, this triangle is showing here right immediately after the chord, because it's reminding you to blip right after that chord gets pressed. So once you're used to those first two chords, then go ahead and try this whole line until you can do all four chords in a row, C, G, D minor, A minor, and you're feeling pretty comfortable about how it's sounding with the sustain pedal.
Your C chord, G chord, D minor chord, and then the last step, which may take you several days because you definitely want to get comfortable at left hand first, is adding in the right hand that it shows on the tool. You're still going to be keeping right hand down, having legato, even though you needed to lift left hand. You're still going to blip your foot at the exact same time. If I would have blipped too early, even if my right hand was playing legato, it would have sounded like this. Still sounds weird because even though my left hand's holding, you still heard the vacuum of sound. So one last time. Now it does take a while for it to feel very controlled and smooth. Chances are the first few times you play it, when you're thinking of like moving and pressing, then your foot's probably going to feel like intense like that, and it's going to be kind of harder to control. But the more you do it, the more ease you'll have, and then it will become a whole body thing where you can just kind of feel it, and it's all connected and it's all controlled. But you can see why this would take many reps.